Meetings is currently my absolute favorite meeting planning tool. It unfortunately isn't great at helping you pick a time between your team, but what it is amazing at is agendas and action points, sharing materials, allowing you to comment on the meeting, all that kind of stuff. And I haven't really found ways that I love to do that. I'm aware that there's 1,000 free ways. You could use Google Docs, you could use this or whatever, but nobody always uses the same one, and they aren't super user friendly always. And it's just the cross-platform issue. So because this is just a web app, you do have to pay for it if you go to a certain level of use, which I am at, but you do not if you don't. What I also like about it is it does have the option to create a Meet Me page, and it'll show you a timeline of your meetings as well. It can be set up to automatically send reminders of action points that need to be acted on, to request people RSVP, all of that kind of stuff. So here's an example of what, from the editing stage, my Meet Me page looks like. So it allows me to say, that people can make these types of meetings with me, and to put different settings on each of those, like how long they should be, how much time I need between them, where they should be if they're these specific types, what number they should call, what type of video chat we're going to do, all of that kind of stuff. And what I find the best about it, what's amazing is, so if you take a look at this meeting here, which is a follow-up one for one I've scheduled before, I've entered the date and time, and then I've also added where. So if you're using an online format, see this little goofy button, you can tell it how you would like to do that. You can say Skype call, and then it'll give you a screen to enter the information about your Skype call so that you can make sure that everyone ends up in the same Skype call together, which is great. You can say teleconference, and again, it'll prompt you to enter that information. Same thing for Google Hangouts and link. And in this case, I picked custom tool because we want to use the D2L Online Rooms tool for these meetings. So what's super neat about that is I can put the main web address. If I went into and scheduled a particular meeting, you can also get links to specific meetings, and I would be able to put that link here. That can be, a little different, so I didn't do it in this case, but it is possible and you absolutely could. Or if later you decided that you wanted to use that specific link, you can always come in here and change this as well. So then you put the name of the tool, whatever that happens to be, and then in this particular case I wrote in a bunch of instructions, just to make it a little bit easier, and made sure that there was support for how to do this in case it's new to people, and then click save. So what's especially nice about that is now I can edit our agenda, and here's the contents of the previous agenda ready for editing. It's got previous action points, it's got attachments, if there were previous attachments for meetings, and then we have a space for new action points that we generate in this new meeting for us to do them, which is super cool. Add new material, all that kind of stuff you can edit. Also, over here you can change the settings for things you like to do, how you'd like emails to go out. So do you want it to remind people about the meeting? Do you want to force them to RSVP? Do you want it to remind you of action points, all that kind of stuff? What participants can do? Can they add people? Can they add items? Can they edit? Whatever. You can also delete it, anything that you need to do. So then you would click ready when you're ready to send it out, which my team has already agreed to schedule this. So I'm just going to go ahead and send it out. I'm not going to require these people to RSVP, but what's nice about when you do that is that it will remind them from time to time to answer if they haven't yet, which can be a really cool thing, and can be a great idea because, like, for this meeting, it's not until January and it's November right now. So that might be really smart to have it remind them of this meeting. So it would be really good. But because technically I'm using my paid service to send a meeting that's really organized by someone else, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send though, because that way it's ready to go and it'll send it out to those people and they'll be able to edit it and get it set up. So the other neat thing is, let me whip into my email here real quick so you can see what I'm looking for. Sorry, I should have had that ready. The best part to me is it will send out emails, and from the meetings assistant. Mine go into the updates folder. But so you can see here, right here, we've got the tech committee meeting. So it sends you the meeting. gives you an option to add it to your calendar if you'd like, also reminds people to check the details, agenda, and materials here. It also gives them the option to opt out from ever receiving these again. So if there is someone on my team that isn't into using this tool, they don't have to use this tool. It's totally fine. They can just opt out of it. Also, let's take a look at this other one, the follow-up one. As soon as I scheduled it, it gives me the option to add to calendar, all that good stuff. And during the actual meeting, I don't think I have, because there's no live meetings at the moment, I don't think I have a way to show you. But so here also, when you get action points, it sends you a summary, what those points are that you entered. You can also open the page. It'll remind you of the materials for the meeting and who the participants were. So that, and it'll send the attachments too. So that is super, super helpful, I find, in keeping me on track with all these different meetings that I have and the things that I'm supposed to do after they're over. The other neat thing is I think I've deleted all of mine from this, but let's just check real quick. Oh, I also like being able to do this because that means I will see all of the ones that matter. So it reminds you of your action points. It reminds you that you've got a meeting coming up, and also there's your calendar invitations. And let's view these really quickly. So oh, this is super cool too. So it tells you if actions required. It tells you if something was updated. So if somebody else in the team updates things, that's really great. It reminds you of, if you didn't set an agenda. It reminds you if you didn't set action points that maybe you should. And then it also 15 minutes before the meeting sends you this. So it sends you this to everyone in the meeting, what you're going to be doing, what the meeting is, where it is if it's online. Then at that point, it reminds you if you want to do apps, you can, but also when you would open that meeting page, if it was during the time of the meeting, which of course we're not during the time of the meeting right now. But if we were, there would be a nice big giant button right where I'm circling that would say join Hangout and join meeting, and it would already be all set up right there for you to click, and it would immediately open and you would be in the meeting right there with everybody else. So I've trialed this with my students and my student research team, and they said it was the easiest method they have found so far for using Hangouts, for doing this kind of stuff, for keeping track of our meetings. So I have found in that respect that it is really, really great. So I wanted to give you a quick rundown of it. Again, it is a paid service for you to get fully featured, so I'm not saying that you should pay for it, but I have found I love it the best. And that additional Meet Me page, which means I can send that page to my students and let them schedule meetings with me whenever they need to, is amazing. So I think for me, it's worth it. And what's also nice is if you do not want to pay for it, but you happen to know someone, perhaps me, who will be in meetings with you, I can use mine to do all of our scheduling, and then you can just benefit. So that's one way to get work around the whole paid thing. All right, that's my quick rundown of this tool. Just wanted to share super fast. Have a great day. Oh, one caveat. I reserve the right to change my opinion on this tool at any time. Should they update and me not like it anymore, should somebody else come out with something better that happens to be free, whatever, this may not be my favorite service forever.